Dear friends, welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read Parshas Vaeschanan. And not only is it Parshas Vaeschanan, but it's also Me'eretz Hashem B'Shah Tov Mitzlachos Shabbos Nachamu, the Shabbos of consolation. A week ago, this time we were gearing up and getting ready for Shabbos Chazon, feeling the overwhelming collective burden of pain of Klal Yisrael over thousands of years, that pain compounded by the current war that Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael faces, that current pain compounded by the plight of our hostages, the daily danger posed to our precious soldiers on multiple fronts. And now we come, Baruch Hashem, to Shabbos Nachamu, the Shabbos of consolation. And I've always found it interesting that, I feel at least, when Tisha B'Av is over, you feel like this, almost like euphoric wave of relief. So it's easy to attribute that to the end of the fast day, the excitement of going home and Me'eretz Hashem to be able to break your fast. But it's something deeper. Even before you eat anything, when that Ma'ariv comes, that V'hurachum, that Baruch Hashem Mavorach, that signifies that the fast is over. Even when we go out for Kiddush Levana, which for many of us is delaying the time that we actually break our fast, we feel a certain sense of relief. We feel a certain sense of nechama, a certain sense of consolation, and it's incredible. I'm still fasting, and the truth is, in a material sense, nothing has really changed all that much in our world. An hour ago when it was Tisha B'Av, and an hour later that now it's post Tisha B'Av, kind of leading in to that nechama, leading into that Shabbos Nachmu, nothing's really changed. The dangers that face our people are still there. The threats that face our people are still there. The plights of our brothers and sisters held captive in Gaza, whose fate and location is unknown, is still there. The dangers facing our soldiers, still there. And yet, for some interesting reason, we feel different. The world feels different. My life feels different. I feel different. What's the pshat? What has changed? And we come into Shabbos Nachamu, and again, you feel it. You feel that sense of, it's simcha, that sense of simcha, that sense of joy, that sense of happiness, and that sense of relief, that sense of consolation. You feel it building up a little bit, or a lot. And the shaila is why? What is this dynamic of Shabbos Nachamu? What is this dynamic of relief? What is this dynamic of consolation, this dynamic of simcha? When, if we're honest with ourselves, nothing has really fundamentally or materially changed. This is not a new question. This is an age-old question that has been tackled in many different ways, but I want to share with you something that I really just thought about for the first time this year, that I think for me helps to understand a little bit of this dramatic dynamic that we are living through. Moshe Rabbeinu, at the beginning of the parasha, launches one last attempt, one last supplicative plea to be able to enter into Eretz Yisrael. It's all that Moshe Rabbeinu wants. The Gemara says, "V'chilech omipirya." Does Moshe Rabbeinu want to eat the food of Eretz? Why does he want to go into Eretz Yisrael so badly? What does he want? Moshe Rabbeinu wants to see the land. Moshe Rabbeinu wants to be able to walk on the holy soil. Moshe Rabbeinu knew that every Dalet Amos, every little bit that you walk in Eretz Yisrael is such a profound mitzvah. I always tell my children, whenever go to Eretz Yisrael, and you're on the flight, and you pass the coastline of Tel Aviv, and you see we're doing something that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have the opportunity to do. And it's overwhelming. All he wanted to do was to step foot on its holy soil. All he wanted to do was perform the mitzvos hatluyos, perform the mitzvos that are dependent on the land. And so he launches one last exhaustive, supplicative, initiative, journey and plea. Let me in. Vaeschanan el Hashem ba'is ha'i leimar. And Moshe Rabbeinu teaches us the model for tefillah. First you praise. You don't just launch into your request, but you praise. You praise. Kadosh Baruch Hu, he praises Hashem, and then he says, here's the request. Ebrana let me pass through. Let me go in. Let me pass through and see the good land that is on the other side of the Jordan. Hahar hatov hazeh v'halvanon, the good mountain and the Lebanon. Rashi HaKodesh understands that Hahar hatov is Yerushalayim, and the Lebanon is reference to the Beis Hamikdash. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't simply asking to go into the land of Israel. Moshe Rabbeinu was asking to go in, and he was also asking to be able to see the Beis Hamikdash. He was asking to be able to see Yerushalayim, Yerakodesh. That's all that Moshe wanted. Ribbon Shalom, I've been their trusted shepherd for 40 years. I know I made a mistake, but let me into the land. Let me into Yerushalayim, Yerakodesh. Let me see the Beis Hamikdash. And of course we know that the Ribbon Shalom responds in a stern way, and he says, Ravloch, al tosef tabar elai b'davar hazeh. Enough. enough. We had this conversation already. We spoke about this. But Moshe Rabbeinu, again, you have a mission, you have a sacred task, but it is not to lead the people into the land. But I want to draw your attention to something very interesting in Moshe Rabbeinu's request. Moshe Rabbeinu says, Hashem, Ebrana ve'er'eh es ha'aretz hatova. Let me pass through and see the land. You don't really need that phrase or that word, ve'er'eh, and let me see. It's obvious. All Moshe Rabbeinu needs to say is, Ebrana, let me go through, El ha'aretz hatova. Let me pass into the land. And obviously, if Moshe Rabbeinu is passing into the land, he sees the land. But yet he says, Ebrana, let me pass through, ve'er'eh es ha'aretz hatova, and see the good land. What's the pshat? And perhaps, what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying to the Rebbe Shalom was as follows. He says, Chodesh Baruch Hu, like a lot of times in life, we have experiences. And a lot of times in life, we have many beautiful brachos. But we're so preoccupied with other things in life that we don't see them. We're so preoccupied that I possess blessing, but I don't see blessing. We're so distracted in life that often I see what my problems are, I see what I'm lacking, I see what is deficient, but I'm so overwhelmed by all the things that are broken and so overwhelmed by all the things that are not going right that I don't see my blessings. I don't see my brachas. And perhaps what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying to the Moshe Rabbeinu is, Chodesh Baruch Hu, here's what I want to promise you. I promise you that if you let me into the land, Ebrana, if you let me in, ve'er'eh es ha'aretz hatova, I'll see it. I will not make the mistake of the human condition of being blind to blessing. I will not make the mistake of the human condition of being oblivious to the beautiful brachos that you have given me. I promise you, Ebrana, if you let me go in, ve'er'eh es ha'aretz hatova, I'll see it. I won't be one of those people who has blessing and is oblivious to it. I won't be one of those people who has blessing and is blind to it. But rather, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with all the problems, all the challenges, I promise if you let me in, I will not only walk into Eretz Yisrael, but I will see the blessing. I'll be cognizant of the beautiful bracha of Eretz Yisrael that you have given me. I was very overwhelmed by this statement of Moshe Rabbeinu, because I think many of us go through life blind to our blessings. We become so overwhelmed by all the things that are broken and misfiring and dysfunctional, and that's legitimate. And for many of us, we have like some pretty significant broken and dysfunctional things in our lives. But sometimes the dysfunction blinds us to the blessing. You could be in the midst of beautiful bracha, ebrana. You could be in the middle of bracha, but it doesn't mean you see it. You need to be cognizant enough of your blessings to be able, ve'er'eh es ha'aretz hatova. It's not enough to go in. It's not enough to possess the bracha. You have to see it. And perhaps this is the dynamic of Shabbos Nachamu. I think for many of us, when you go home Tisha B'Av night and you eat something, it doesn't really matter what the menu is. It doesn't really matter. But you concentrate on the kinnis and you read stories of starvation and you reflect on survivor accounts of the Holocaust, and you recognize what it means to have food on a table. It doesn't matter what, but I would venture to say that none of us had to go home after Tisha B'Av and scrounge around for different just scraps of food. There was something there. You liked it, you didn't like it, it's your favorite, it's not your favorite, that's irrelevant. That's detail. But it was there. It was there. Or how many of us spent time on Tisha B'Av reflecting on stories of those who were murdered al Kiddush Hashem on October 7th, or soldiers who have given their lives al Kiddush Hashem since October 7th, families torn apart. And maybe you went home after Tisha B'Av, and maybe you were Zocha to sit around the table with an intact family. There's so many brachas that we have. And I think when we have a real Tisha B'Av, like I think so many of us had this year, maybe even for the first time, a real heart-wrenching, heartbreaking Tisha B'Av, where we tapped into the real contemporary and historical loss of our people. Something amazing happens. Your eyes are opened up, ve'er'eh es ha'aretz hatova. suddenly I see all of my brachas. My problems aren't solved. I recognize that there are still so many things that are misfiring or dysfunctional or broken. But I realize, my gosh, I have so much bracha. I have so much bracha. But what about this problem? I got it. The problems are the problems. We're not discounting or diminishing the problems. But the existence of problems does not diminish the blessing. And the existence of problems cannot make us blind to our brachos. And perhaps that's the nechama. You see, the neshama knows as soon as that Vahu Rachom is said, Ma'ariv starts and Tisha B'Av is over. And I have the ability to dry my eyes from the tears of the collective pain of my people, at least for this day. And I go out into the world and I'm Kiddush Levan and I'm still hungry. I'm like, wow, I have so much bracha in life. And this is Shabbos Nachamu. And this is the Tekufa of Nechama, to recognize that we have so much bracha. And you'll say, but one second, Klal Yisrael is still at war, and Eretz Yisrael still faces danger, and there are still over 100 of our brothers and sisters being held captive in Gaza, and our soldiers are still fighting Klal Yisrael wars on multiple fronts, and they're in the... It's true, but look at what we have. We have Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael is ours. For the first time in thousands of years, Eretz Yisrael is not under the dominion of a foreign nation. But Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, the state of Israel, is run by the Jewish people. Okay, it's imperfect. The government has issues. Our leaders have issues. I got it. There's political issues, religious issues, but it's ours. But it's ours. And there's a Jewish army that is protecting our land. And there are beautiful yeshivas producing the beautiful melodic Torah in every corner of our land. And we have a people who knows how to come together in the midst of crisis. And over 300 days later, no one has forgotten about our hostages, because we have a people who operate as one nation with one beating heart, despite all of our differences and all of our difficulties. There is so much bracha in the midst of all that is broken. And that's Shabbos Nachamu. Shabbos Nachamu is when you realize that with everything that is in a state of disrepair, there is so much bracha, there is so much beauty. And I pledge myself not to be blind to my brachos. That's the simcha of this time of year. That's the simcha of Shabbos Nachamu. We have lost so much, and so much is still broken. But there is so much beauty, and there is so much bracha, and there are so many incredible, beautiful things happening within our people, within our land. There are so many beautiful brachos that are unfolding each and every day. That's the simcha of post Tisha B'Av. That's the simcha of Matzei Tisha B'Av. That's the simcha of Shabbos Nachamu. That's the nechama, the consolation of Shabbos Nachamu. That within all of the brokenness, we are Moshe Rabbeinu like. Ve'eres ha'aretz hatova. I want to see all of my bracha. And dear Chavra, that is our avoda. Our avoda is not to go through life as individuals or as a people, being blinded to our brachos. There is so much that is broken, so much in a state of disrepair, and so much that we still need. But with all of that, we have to find Moshe Rabbeinu like courage. Ve'eres ha'aretz hatova. Within everything, see the good, appreciate the bracha. The more we appreciate that which we have as individuals and as a collective, the more Amir Hashem, the Ribono Shel Olam, will shower upon us. We should be zocha to a beautiful Shabbos Nachamu, a true Shabbos of consolation, a Shabbos in which we are able to take stock and appreciate and see all of our brachas, despite all of the brokenness. And in that zechus, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the ultimate bracha, the bracha of Mashiach, the bracha of Geula, the bracha of Pidyon Shvuyim, the bracha of Shalom, the bracha of the Beis HaMikdash from here, Rabbi Aminu. Amen.